I thought the seminar today was very, very valuable. I learned a lot of great information about how to run the studio a little more efficiently, how to use my marketing techniques better, and a little bit more about how to just make my studio a better, more professional business place.
It just imparts information all the time, valuable information, and I think it's well worth attending and worth the money.
Andrew Wood has an incredible amount of information in a very short time that really can help your school. I've been working with him for several months, and he's made it possible for me to have over 30 students in less than a month, and I'm really happy with what he's got to offer.
Hi, my name is Andrew Wood, and we're going to spend a few minutes now talking about planning for success. More specifically, we're going to talk about setting goals that will help move you forward in the martial arts business. If you read the biographies of any famous or successful person, Jack Nicklaus, Muhammad Ali, President Clinton, President Bush, President Reagan, Sam Walton, Winston Churchill, or almost anyone, you'll find they all had one thing in common. They all set goals. Setting goals is one of the simplest and most effective things you can do to quickly take your studio and your business to new heights. Most people simply don't set goals. In fact, studies show that less than 5% of the people in the country actually have a clear set of written goals. Most people who do have written goals simply don't have action plans to actualize the goals. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. For this section, it's going to be very useful if you grab a pen and paper so that you can follow along and write down your goals as I speak. First of all, write down on the piece of paper how many active paying students you would like 12 months from today. Now, let's take a moment and write down how much income, how much net income would you like to make 1 year from now? Would that be $40,000, $60,000, $80,000, or even $100,000? Write it down on a piece of paper now. What kind of car would you like to drive a year from now? Would you like a Nissan 300ZX, a Porsche, a Ferrari, a Lincoln, a truck? What kind of car would you like to have? What type of house would you like to have a year from now? Would it be a big house, a small house, a house with land, a house with a pool? Where would you like to go on vacation? Take a moment to list a couple of places in the world that you've never seen and would like to see. You could spend the whole day continuing to write down things you'd like to do and achieve with your life. But for right now, let's take the 2 or 3 things we've written down and go back and find out how we can start making a strategy to achieve them. Let's take our first goal of how many students you'd like to sign up 12 months from today. Let's supposing that you presently have 100 students, and 12 months from today, you'd like to have 220. That means that you have to sign up 10 students a month. Now you know that as you sign people up, some people quit. So let's say that in order to reach your goal of 220 active students 1 year from today, you have to sign up 12 people a month. That figure becomes our intermediate goal, or a stepping stone to help us get towards the figure of 220. What most people fail to do when they set goals is they fail to back their goals up so that each little step becomes a step closer to their goals. Most people fix on a long-term goal but never put the short-term parts of it in, and so consequently never reach their true objective. So we now have a goal of 12 people a month. That's a very reachable goal, but it's still too far away to really get us excited and motivated into action. 12 people a month translates into approximately 3 people per week. 3 people a week means you've got to sign up 1 student every 2 days. Now, what you have to do to make these goals work for you is to decide here and now, this minute, what can you do today to attract that 1 person you need? Can you give out flyers? Can you call up some old students? Can you stand out in front of the school and twirl some nunchucks to attract some attention? What things can you do right now, this hour, this minute, this day, to get that 1 person in your school? That's what makes goal setting work, by breaking it down to this very minute. And what can you do now? Can you run better ads? Well, yes, you can, but that might take a day or 2. But you can get started right now on designing a better ad. You can pull out your file, your Rolodex, and call up 1 or 2 students you haven't seen in a while. Take out your appointment book now and start listing 2 or 3 things you can do today to help move you closer to your goal of 220 students. And then tomorrow, do exactly the same thing. Pull out your day planner and write down before you even start the day, what can you do today to get closer to your goals? Even if all you do is commit to every day passing out 10 flyers, that helps move you towards your goals. Let's talk for a moment now about how to use the time you have in your studio effectively to help move you towards your goals. One of the reasons that so few karate studios do financially well is because so little of the time and energy that instructors put into their businesses is put into marketing, promoting, and selling their business. Instead, they put their time into teaching, which is the part of the business they love, and they tend to ignore all other parts of the business. Take a moment now to look at this simple chart. On the top of that chart, you'll see a place where it says CEO, or Chief Executive Officer. Who is the Chief Executive Officer of your karate studio? Probably you. But if your studio was a major company, you'd also have people underneath you who were responsible to you. Let's suppose for a minute that your studio is like IBM, XYZ Karate Corporation, and you are the Chief Executive Officer. But underneath you, you have 5 very important departments. You have an advertising and marketing department. You have a sales department. You have a research and development department. You have an operations department, and you have a finance department. Let's think for a moment what would happen to a big company if they put all their energy into one specific area. For example, what would happen to IBM if they spent all their time designing computers and then never spent any time trying to sell them? Well, pretty soon they'd be out of business. What if Toyota spent all their time on advertising and marketing their cars, but then spent no money on research and development to come up with better, more fuel-efficient engines, better designs, and better safety features? Well, pretty soon they wouldn't be in business. What would happen to Coca-Cola if they produced soft drinks and marketed them and sold them, but nobody collected on their bills? Their finance department failed. Well, they'd go out of business. What would happen to Xerox if they never advertised their copiers? Again, they'd go out of business. And yet that is the same type of thing that most instructors are doing in their karate studios. They're spending 80 to 90% of their time and their focus and their energy on teaching. Advertising is an afterthought. Research and development happens sometimes. Finance happens when they get around to it. Marketing happens, if at all, when they feel like it. What you have to do is sit down with a day planner and start rearranging your schedule so that you give equal time to the 5 important areas of your corporation. Number 1, let's take advertising. You should sit down one afternoon when you're not going to be interrupted and plan your advertising campaign for the next 3 months. You shouldn't just advertise when you feel like it or when you have extra money. You should sit down right now and plan your advertising campaign. Pick the months when it makes, or weeks, when it doesn't make sense to advertise. Go through one of my manuals or through your own ads and pick specific ads you want to run at specific times. Then you will have a complete advertising plan that will take you through the next 3 months. Now sit down and design your marketing plan for the next 3 months. Are you going to institute a newsletter? What are you going to do to get more referrals? How are you going to follow up on students who have quit? Sit down and take an afternoon to plan these things. It's only one afternoon out of your life, and it will help you immeasurably in moving your company, your XYZ Martial Arts Corporation, forward to a higher level. Now let's look at research and development. That you probably already do some of. Anytime you take a karate lesson, go to your master, watch a karate video, read a karate book, you're investing in research and development. You are developing your specific teaching and instructional skills. But what about the other side of the business? How many books have you read on advertising or marketing or sales? How many seminars have you attended, either mine or somebody else's, that teaches you how to improve your business? You should attend one seminar a month in your field. Or you should invest in books once a month, or a combination of the two things. I spend between $200 and $300 a month keeping up on the latest information in the things that are important to me. I read biographies of famous people to see what I can learn from them. I seek out information all the time. That's what research and development is all about. And in your studio, you should always commit to doing that. If you don't continue to grow, both in the martial arts and in the business, you'll soon be left behind. The third part of your corporation that's very important is sales. You should constantly strive to look for new ways to package your lessons, to charge more for your services, and to sell them better. Without a lot of dedication to sales and marketing, you'll soon be out of business. So take the time to plan your sales. Decide how you're going to package your lessons, how much you're going to charge for them, and when you're going to introduce new services. The final part of your corporation is finance. When do you pay your bills? When do you collect your bills? How are you collecting your student tuition? Are you doing it yourself, or are you using a billing company? If you're doing it yourself, how effective are you? How much time does it take up? Would you be better using the services of a billing company? How much do they charge? How could you package your financial end of the business so that you spend less time doing it and collect more money from your students? This is an important area that you should look into. Then, of course, you have operations. That's an area which you're probably very familiar with. The teaching of your classes and your students. The key thing is to sit down with a day planner and realize that that particular aspect of your teaching is only one aspect of the business you're running. You are not in the karate business. You are in the service business, and karate just happens to be the service that you're offering. Figure out how you can spend, if not equal time, at least a reasonable amount of time to each area of your business so that you maximize your resources and the talents that you have. Let's talk a little bit more about how you can maximize your time to get the most out of it and help move you forward towards your goals. Earlier on, we asked the question, how much do you want to make this year? Let's just suppose, for argument's sake, that you want to gross $150,000 this year. What that works out to be is approximately $12,500 a month, which is $2,884 a week, which is $480 a day, $60 an hour, or $1 a minute. Now, is what you're doing today, right now, worth $1 a minute? The answer, of course, is yes, because what you're doing right now is investing in your research and development department by improving your business skills to improve your business. But how many of the things you do throughout the day are really worth $1 a minute? Now, those figures are based on a 48-hour, 6-day week. How much of the time you spend in your studio is really spent on $1 a minute tasks? If you spend 30 minutes teaching a private lesson and you charge $60 an hour, you're getting paid $1 a minute. If you teach a group class with 10 people in it, then obviously your time is worth $1 a minute. But teaching pays a lot less, although important, than some of the other tasks. If you spend an hour, which is 60 minutes of your time, which is $60 of your time, designing an ad that in turn gets you 15 phone calls, then your time is far more valuable than $1 a minute. If you spend 5 minutes in the office signing somebody up on a $2,000 black belt program, then your time's worth immeasurably more than $1 a minute. You should focus your energy at your studio on the things that really can bring you $1 a minute returns, such as signing people up, promoting your studio, marketing, advertising. Teaching, while extremely important to your overall business, can often be done by other black belts and assistants who will charge you far less than $1 a minute. They may work for $6 or $7 an hour, while you can charge $1 a minute for their services, freeing you up to do other important things like promoting your business. Every minute you spend in your studio should be spent furthering your business, your service to your students, and your career. You should never be in your studio reading the paper or talking to your buddy down the street about last night's baseball game. When you're at work, work. When you're on vacation, take a vacation. If you're talking about last night's baseball game to a buddy and you spend 20 minutes on the phone, that costs you $20 of your valuable business time. How often would you waste your time in this manner if you had to take $20 out of your wallet, drive down the street, and present your buddy with the 20 bucks for listening to you? Probably not very often. But that's how it is. If you want to reach your goals, if you want to further your career, then spend the time you have at work working. You should never be sitting around doing nothing. There are always things you can do to forward your studio and your business and help you reach those goals. It's the people who treat each minute as a valuable resource it is and look at each minute with this question, what could I do now to help move me forward towards my goals, that are the truly successful people both in this business and in any other business. Those are the people who set goals of making $100,000 a year and simply look towards it without any idea how to get there, never reach them. You are different. You are going to start breaking down your months, your weeks, your days, your hours and minutes into things that you can do to help move you forward. That is what will take you to the top. To help you achieve your goals and to help you maximize your talents, it's necessary to do some serious self-evaluation. What are your strengths? What are you particularly good at in the martial arts business? What are your weaknesses? Are you weak at advertising or marketing or sales? Take a moment to list down both your strengths and your weaknesses. The other thing you must do in order to achieve your goals is to identify the limiting step. With any goal, there's always one thing which, if not tackled first, will always hold up the rest of your progress. So if we take our goal of getting 120 new students, we might find that the limiting step is lack of advertising skill. We might find it's lack of sales skills. We might find that the poor location we have chosen for our studio is holding us back. Take a look at your long-term goal for a number of students and seriously evaluate what is the limiting factor. What one step must be tackled first before all the other steps can move into place. It will be different for each of you, but decide what it is and then tackle that first. If it's lack of sales skill, then make it a point to spend this entire month improving your sales skills. Order audio tapes, order videotapes, and go to the library and check out books on increasing your sales. You can expand your knowledge of almost any subject 1,000% in a single month. When I first opened my karate studio, I found that the ads I was running were getting no response. Rather than asking myself, well, why is it getting no response? Is it because advertising didn't work? I said advertising must work, People spend millions of dollars a year on advertising. I realized that the quality of my advertising is what was holding my studio back. So I went to the local bookstore and I bought 5 books on advertising. I took them home, I read them all in a single weekend, I underlined them, circled them, and highlighted them. I then went back to the bookstore and bought several more. I also bought an advertising trade magazine, and from that I ordered several more. Within a month, I'd read almost 30 books on advertising. I had found out what were the simple things that work and what didn't. I went back to my studio, and just a month after I'd first started, I redesigned my ad. The first ad that I ran, in just 4 days, produced 18 sign-ups and brought in several $1,000s. I became, to some degree, an advertising expert in just 4 weeks. In college, I'd taken advertising and learned almost nothing in an entire semester. But by going out, identifying my limiting step, and taking the logical steps that seemed necessary, I became an advertising expert. And as such, was able to turn my studio around from a studio that was barely break even to one that was incredibly successful in just 4 weeks. You can do the same thing. Once I'd realized just how easy it was, I went out and improved my sales skill. Then I went out and bought books on marketing. By continuing to upgrade your skills in all areas of your corporation, you will be able to turn your business into an incredibly successful venture, not in a matter of years, but in a matter of months and weeks. All you have to do is identify your weaknesses and take immediate steps to shore them up. Once you've done this, the rest of the puzzle will fall into place, and you'll soon find that your karate corporation is one to be proud of. I consider myself very fortunate in that ever since I've been a small child, I've always set goals. At the time, I didn't really know what I was doing, but whenever I wanted something, I put it in my mind to have it. Recently, I've started writing them down, but I had them in my mind so clearly as a child that it was almost as good for me. When I was about 12 or 13 years old, a friend's father gave me a ride home in his brand new Porsche 928. That very first time I was in it, I knew that's the type of car that I wanted to own. It was the fastest, smoothest ride I'd ever had in my life. I started immediately by gathering information on the car. I put pictures of the car on my wall. I got information on the car's performance, how fast it could get to 60 miles an hour, how fast it could brake, how it handled, how it cornered. And for the next several years, I learned everything I could about that car. I visualized how it would feel driving it, how it would feel stepping on the gas and pulling away for other cars. In my mind, I owned that car. It was my car. Finally, when I turned around 26 years of age, I bought one and I paid cash. The point is that the more vividly you can see the goals you want, the quicker and the easier they are to achieve. The reason for that is that by focusing 100% on what you want to get out of your studio and out of your life, your subconscious mind goes to work for you. It starts to tell you the path you should take in order to achieve your goals. The clearer you can focus on them and the more often you write them down and redefine them, the harder your mind will work to achieve them. If you keep telling yourself that it's very, very important to you to sign up 120 new students, and you continue to break it down so that it ends up being you have to sign up 1 student today. If you keep telling yourself that you have to sign up that 1 student and you have to find ways to sign that student up, your subconscious mind will go to work for you and start showing you ways that this can happen. If, on the other hand, you don't focus in on your goals, what you really are is a ship without a rudder drifting through the sea of life. You need to be a ship with a very clear path and a very strong rudder aimed at the port of your dreams. The clearer you can visualize that port, the faster you will be able to make those dreams a reality. Setting goals is simply one of the easiest, simplest, and quickest things you can do to massively improve your life. By writing down your goals in black and white and then backing them up into intermediate, short-term and daily goals, you begin to focus all of your energy on how to achieve them. This will instantly vault you into the top 5% of people in the business, because every day you will have a purpose to aim for and something to strive for. Make sure that you do this and write down in your daily planner every day what it is you're going to achieve today and the simple steps you need to take to achieve it. That ends our section on goal setting, but I urge you to seek out more information on the subject. Write down your goals, develop an action plan, and go for it.